Fate, the line is feminine. She is an operative power entering into things in a decisive way, with a kind of inevitability. The operative power entering into things in a decisive way, with a kind of inevitability that comes from supracosmic certainties. It is the universal principle of ultimate agency by which the order of things presumably prescribed. Let us check the occurrence of fate here. This is what we are seeing now. Now, man's fate, it is it. Here are ways of examples, some occurrences where fate is feminine. 103.24. You can open 103.24. Now, here Satyavan is telling to Savitri who he is, whose parents are. In days when yet his sight looked clear on life, Satyavan was able to see everything. He had not become blind by that time. Sorry, Dyumatsena. Once the Salva reigned through all the tract which formed behind the tops, passing in days of emerald light, in turning converse with the traveller went, turns looking toward the southern heaven, and leans its flank upon the musing hill. But equal fate, he was a king of royalty, but equal fate removed her covering hand. Fate had given him the royalty, the kingdom, everything, but same equal fate also took that thing away from him. Her covering hand. Then there is another example here. Savitri herself tells, death's grip can break our bodies, not our souls. If death take him, I too know how to die. This is what Savitri is telling. Let fate do with me what she will or can. What she will or can. I am stronger than death, etc., etc. And then there is one more here. Yeah. Unwilling to see for the last time a face. In fact, this is what we'll see shortly in the same canto. Savitri has come to the forest now. The royal party is also there. They are staying there in the forest for some time and then they are going back. But they are unwilling to go back because of their beloved child they receive. Heavy with the sorrow of a coming day and wondering at the carelessness of fate, who breaks with idle hand her supreme work. Fate who breaks her supreme work. So that way we have a very clear definition of fate as a dynamic operative power, feminine. You see. So this line, fate followed her. See, it makes it very complex now, see, in that context. See.
So in this case, fate, the Shakti.
Yeah, Shakti. She is a Shakti, she is a power. Yeah. Now, this is a very puzzling line, very rich line. Very rich line. And you can see the difference between this line, fate, and her. See, in the third sentence, his fate with him shapes his acts and rules. Its face. Here, fate is neutral.
The face of whom? With him. The face of whom? of the
See, little read this second sentence. Man's hopes and longings build the journeying wheels that bear the body of his destiny and lead his blind will towards an unknown goal. And then he says, his fate with him speaks his acts and rule. Its face. Immediately you have got fate here as neutral.
This is the fate,
Neutral
because it's the face of the fate or of the man.
of man. Fate of man. Its fate. See, because she is somebody who is not really that power. Circumstances, events, all them occurring, they are becoming fate now here. Its parent is in his secret soul. And then he says, nature and fate compel. In fact, we'll read this thing again. But what I'm trying to tell you here, that you have to see the context of fate as feminine or neutral, depending upon the description.
I know why Shroben Dodi put this.
Yeah.
Because Shroben Dodi is above the language. It means, in English, the man who, it means the human being.
Yes.
It's used as masculine, like in French. But in Arabic, it's not the same word. There is a word to say who means female and male.
I see.
And he didn't want to put as a man, as a masculine, so he used it. No, it's my experience.
Yeah, no, it's possible. No, but here it is very clear. I mean, he is talking of absolutely the highest kind of forces which are in operation. Immutable road, forcing road. See, these are things which are of a different dimension altogether. They are not on the human plane. They are not on the human plane. They are not on the human plane at all, you see. So fate is feminine here, absolutely. And we have few other examples also. Equal fate, she took away the gifts. She took away as the operative power. Now this is a kind of an introduction. Why is he giving this introduction? To the book of Yoga. Fate followed her forcing immutable road. Man's hopes and longings build journeying wheels that bear the body of his destiny and lead his blind will towards an unknown goal. Now this is the ordinary fate, common man's fate. The circumstances, the event, the operations of the cosmic forces vis-a-vis the individual. So actually he is being led by fate in the case of an ordinary man and lead his blind will towards an unknown goal. He is taken. This is not the case of great souls, accomplished souls, of siddhas. His fate, man's fate, within him shapes his acts and rules. We don't know, but that is how we are being taken. You see, how we come here, we don't know. Somebody has taken charge of us and brought us here. His face and form already are born in him. His parentage is in his secret soul. We are not aware of it, but the secret soul is working secretly and doing certain things in our life. Here, matter seems to mold the body's life. In the case of an ordinary man, you see. And the soul follows where its nature drives. So, soul is led by that thing. In the case of an ordinary man, nature and fate compel his free will choice. In other words, man really doesn't have free will. He really doesn't have free will. Nature and fate compel his choice. We are not aware of it also, see. We think that we like a certain sweet. It is not that I really like it, it is not out of my free will I am using it. It is my nature which is kind of demanding that type of input in my physical system. See, nature and fate compel his previous choice, but greater spirits, this balance can reverse. Man is compelled by nature and fate, but people who are greater than that, they know how to mold fate in nature. This is, of course, in the context of Savitri now. And make the soul the artist of its fate. Now, this its, of course, stands for soul. Now, this is the, now, yes, it is fated that Satyavan must die. It is fate. But here is a greater soul who can reverse the balance. In the context of Savitri, there is someone who is greater than fate and make the soul the artist of its fate. Now, it is in order to make the soul the artist of its fate that Savitri has to do yoga. So, see, he is developing it very logically. Make the soul the artist of its fate. This is the mystic truth our ignorance hides. Doom is a passage for our inborn force. Our ordeal is a hidden spirit's choice. Ananki is our being's own decree. Now he is using the word Ananki, the Greek goddess of fate. She, it makes it very clear. She is carrying the torch.
And in English, I mean in Sanskrit, what is her name?
She is carrying the torch.
What is her name in Sanskrit? Anake. Anake.
Ananki is
Anake.
Sanskrit, what is the word?
This is Greek.
Greek. Yeah, I will show you. I will show you that. In Greek mythology, Ananki is the personification of compelling necessity or ultimate fate to which even the gods must yield. Shivandu writes here, this truth of karma has been always recognized in the East in one form or else in another. But to the Buddhists belongs the credit of having given to it the clearest and fullest universal enunciation and most insistent importance. In the West, too, the idea has constantly recurred, but in external, in fragmentary glimpses, as a recognition of a pragmatic truth of experience. Ananke, or later the mysterious ways of an arbitrary, though no doubt an all-wise providence. There was a, this is the one, that was a notion of the Greeks, a blind fate of inscrutable necessity. This is from Eastern philosophy. In fact, there are a number of things. I will show you again. Dictionary meanings. Karma, kismat, chance, luck, fate, destiny, doom, fortune. It was Napoleon's fate to be exiled. The word is often lightly used, however. It was my fate to meet her that very afternoon. You see, destiny emphasizes the idea of an unalterable course of events and is often used of a propitious fortune. It was his destiny to save his nation. Doom especially applies to the final ending, always unhappy or terrible, brought about by a destiny or fate. He met his doom bravely, etc. etc. Karma, kismat, chance. Daiva, Prarabdha. There are a number of, there are different shades. Each one has a shade of meaning. Prarabdha, whatever is ordained for me.
There are different connotations.
Different connotation, that's right, yeah. Prarabdha, Daiva, Nasib, we call it Nasib. Yeah, Nasib. मेरा नसीब ऐसा है. Nasib. Yes, I know. Kismat is also there. Kismat is also there, that's right. In Greek literature, necessity or fate personified. That is why she is Ananki, this person. Personified. In Homer, the personification has not yet occurred, although even the gods admit they are limited in their freedom of action. Ananki is rather prominent in post-Homeric literature and theological speculation, particularly in the mystic cult of Orphism, but is definitely known to emerge into a cult only in Corinth, Greek Corinth, where she was worshipped with Baia, the force, might. Because of her unalterable nature, it was pointless to render to her offering or sacrifice. So she is not going to change. So why sacrifice? Very practical. Nothing stronger than dread necessity was a Greek byword. Now, in the Mahabharata, there is a very clear statement. Fate, Daiva, what I want to call it, remains unfulfilled without the individual's participation. Without his participation. So there is a double play there. She is supreme, yet your participation is demanded.